Hello and welcome to Bytesize Flashcast number 1. Now I realize that some developments have to be engaged with as soon as possible because they have a sizable impact and are very timely. Now that made me realize that Bytesize newscast format isn't always the best way to do it because it takes a good bit of time to do research, edit and upload videos. So with that in mind, I decided to add Bytesize Flashcast to the product line. The aim of Flashcast is to present critical developments as soon as possible in order to provide you guys with detailed information and context as soon as possible. That being said, welcome. Welcome to Flashcast number 1. Let's jump right in. Today's feature is Facebook. Now, most of you have probably heard about it, but for those of you who haven't, Facebook has been hit by a major antitrust lawsuit by the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, and 46 independent states, United States. We'll look into what the FTC and Facebook had to say on the matter, what the impact is to Facebook stock, why the FTC is going after Facebook now, and also what does the lawsuit mean for big tech in general. Now, the FTC case specifically seeks to unwind Instagram and WhatsApp from Facebook. The reason being that Facebook's company tactics are aimed at buying and freezing out small startups as soon as possible in a very aggressive way. This is an excellent way to choke out competition and stop potential challenges to Facebook's dominance. Now this, as you can imagine, will get you into trouble. Now let's have a look at what the FTC had to say on the matter. Facebook's actions to entrench and maintain its monopoly deny the customers the benefit of competition. Our aim is to roll back Facebook's anti-competitive conduct and restore competition so that innovation and free competition can thrive. That's pretty clear then. The FTC is clearly not okay with Facebook and how it's going about its business. Now, Facebook, on the other hand, is saying that the government is contradicting what they deemed an acceptable sale previously. In other words, Facebook previously applied to the FTC asking whether their purchase of WhatsApp and Instagram was acceptable to the FTC, and the FTC said yes. Now, I think what happened here is that the FTC just severely underestimated the extent to which Facebook would harvest data, especially off Instagram and WhatsApp users. And one of the key components, let me scroll down. Yes, one of the key components that helped them to do this was the purchasing of Onavo, is that correct? Onavo Mobile, which actually developed a tool that allowed for the monitoring of apps. It also provided scores on these apps, which in a sense allows Facebook to identify these competitive threats and buy them out early. So what's happened here is that the Instagram and WhatsApp purchases by Facebook weren't deemed a problem at first. The FTC didn't understand the extent to which Facebook would use the WhatsApp and Instagram data and how they would put it all together. Now, on top of that, Facebook bought Onavo Mobile, which actually had a software package that allowed for the scoring of applications. And this allowed Facebook to identify competitive threats early and attack them or buy them out. Now, in order to get a kind of an idea of how aggressive Facebook is, I found this quote on The Verge, and this is from an internal email that Zuckerberg sent. So this is Zuckerberg's words. One way of looking at this is that what we're buying is time. Even if some competitors spring up, buying Instagram, Path, Foursquare, etc. will give us a year or more to integrate their dynamics before anyone can get close to their scale again. Within that time, if we incorporate the social mechanics that we're using, those new products won't get much traction since we will already have their mechanics deployed at scale. Now, on top of this, Facebook has become known for the ability to shape users' emotional states, accelerate the spread of hateful conspiracies, and potentially influence democratic processes, including elections. Now, I guess what also hurt Facebook was that $5 billion fine they received for the privacy debacle last year. And now, as this has come to light, the FTC had basically went, hold on, did we make a mistake here? Can we, with this newfound information and these developments and Facebook's competitive and monopolistic aggression revert the decision we made earlier? Well, typically cases like these take years to resolve. And before that takes effect, the FTC must prove the legal proceedings against Facebook. What, however, will take immediate effect is Facebook's ability to buy competition. Now, it stands to reason that as Facebook is under the microscope for this aggressive buying out of competition, buying out actual new competition isn't going to be good for Facebook. So what this means is as long as the case progresses, Facebook's competition's going to have plenty of space to conquer some of the market. So to sum up this little portion, Facebook's gotten into trouble multiple times, for emails like this one, with the $5 billion fine. And the FTC's basically went, okay, so we underestimated Facebook, and now they've done all these things that we don't like. Can we take back our decision? And this takes a while to act out. And as this is acting out, as these people are coming to their decisions and they're going to the courthouses and all these kind of crazy things, it's going to be interesting to see if Facebook's competition is actually going to use this time to gain some market share. Now, you may be asking yourself, what happens to my Facebook stock if Instagram and WhatsApp are sold? Well, in short, you'll get WhatsApp and Instagram stocks. Or if another company buys WhatsApp, you'll get a significant margin of that company's stock. Now, what also should be stated is that Facebook's actually in trouble with Europe at the same time. The EU's courts are conducting an investigation into Facebook's use of user data. Now, in the EU, user data is fairly well protected. For example, there is a right to be forgotten, which essentially means that if you ask a company to delete all your user data, they have to delete it. Now, by the looks of it, Facebook either didn't delete all the data, transferred it to another continent, or used it in another manner. Now, this isn't allowed in Europe. Now, what this all comes down to is that it isn't a good time for Facebook right now. They might lose their acquisitions of WhatsApp and Instagram, and at the same time, if the EU finds out they've been using data in the incorrect manner, they could face a gigantic fee. Now, I believe this is a part of a bigger trend against big tech. I wouldn't be surprised if the FTC or the EU filed more antitrust or privacy lawsuits in the near future against the likes of Amazon and Google. Now you may ask yourself, like why Facebook? Isn't there like more monopolies out there? And quite frankly, there is. Let's just look at Anheuser-Busch, the beer producer that sells over 75% of the beer in the world, or Luxottica, can't really pronounce that name. Anyways, it's the company that owns all major brands of sunglasses. The major difference between these brands and Facebook is that these brands, so Anheuser-Busch and Luxottica, that name, is those two brands aren't anti-competitive. They're not stopping other brands from brewing beer or producing sunglasses. Now, Facebook, on the other hand, is using their platform to stop other platforms from gaining traction. And let me actually tab to the FTC website for this. This is on the FTC website. So Facebook allegedly has made key APIs available to third-party applications only on the condition that they refrain from developing competing functionalities and from connecting with or promoting other social network services. Now, Facebook shut down the API that would have allowed Vine to access friends via Facebook, for example. So what this comes down to is there are monopolies out there, clearly, but is the way in which these monopolies go about being monopolies. For example, the Anheuser-Busch monopoly would become a problem if they, owned all the fridges in the world and then told Heineken they won't be allowed to use fridges. That's an example of being anti-competitive, and this is essentially what Facebook has done and why they're in trouble with the FTC. Now, that concludes this episode of Flashcast. I hope this shed some light on the Facebook news for you guys. Thanks so much for listening. I put this one together real quick. I wanted to get it out there. I hope you enjoyed the content, and I just want to keep you guys informed. So hit the like button, subscribe, and I hope to give you tons more of this kind of content. Anyways, I hope to see you all next time. Bye.